I read 10 books in the month of February, so here is my February reading wrap-up. I read so many good books in February. Honestly, it was a really, really, really good reading month. And honestly, I have found some of my favorite reads this month. And I've also found a very amazing app that helps me organize all of my favorite reads without it feeling overwhelming. I've been using ThingsBook as my own digital journal for basically all things bookish. ThingsBook makes putting things into collections super duper easy. I personally have collections for my 26 for 26, my favorite reads, and super cutesy photos that I take in the bookstore. It's honestly really satisfying to see all my books in a ThingsBook collection. It just looks so cute and organized. And if you guys want a deeper look at all my February reads, I just recently made a new collection on ThingsBook that showcases all of the books I read in February and what I rated each and every single one. I will link my ThingsBook account in the description below so you guys can see all of my cute bookish collections and even make a ThingsBook account for yourself. I can't wait to see you guys' cutesy little collections on ThingsBook. Now let's start with the 10 books I read in February. First things first, I read Shatter Me. I was really scared to start this book because it is super, super hyped up. And honestly, the hype is valid. The hype is valid. I rated this book 4.25 stars. Honestly, I started off and rated it 4 stars, but genuinely, I cannot stop thinking about this book in this series. I will say, I'm not one to really read a series back to back to back. And I didn't with this, but I did read 3 books in this series already, and that's not like me, to be honest. This series is kind of like drugs. It's kind of like drugs. Is this the best book in the entire world? No. But it's like I'm an addict and I can't stop. It's really good, honestly. So 4.25 stars. Then I read In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. This book is alright. I read it in one day. I've actually had this book since I was a junior in high school, so I've had this for years and I finally am just now getting to it. I rated this book 3.5 stars. It was a cutesy read. It just wasn't like anything special, as well as I didn't like the third act breakup and the miscommunication. Next, I read God of Malice, and honestly, I love Raina Ken. I like the way she writes, and I love her dark romance. Honestly, she has altered my brain chemistry when it comes to dark romance. But I will say, I didn't rate this book 5 stars because the main character is very questionable. He's not good, if that makes sense. Like, he's not a good guy. And I don't know how people like completely skip past the fact that he's him. But if I were to skip past the fact that he's him, all red flags aside, I rated this book 4 stars. But if I really were to like think about it, he's not a good guy. And would this probably have 4 stars? Probably not. But I'm just gonna ignore that, okay? I'm just gonna ignore it. Then I read Destroy Me, and this is a novella in between the first and the second book of the Shatter Me series. And honestly, this one was so good. It really, really, really helped with character development. I had a very, very big grudge with Mr. Warner, and this novella really remedied it for me. You obviously don't have to read the novellas, but from what I'm seeing, it's very, very helpful to see insights on certain characters. We love a little character development moment. And then I read Unravel Me, and this is the second book in the Shatter Me series. I honestly enjoyed this book just as much as I did the first one. Even though this book was way slower than the first one, the ending was far more rewarding. I also rated this book 4.25 stars. Then I read Credence. And this was definitely an interesting read, to say the least. I wanted to read this pretty bad so that I could really see what people talk about whenever they talk about this book. I just wanted to see what the talk was about. I wanted to see what it was about. And this was definitely an interesting read. I feel like that's the only way I could describe it, is interesting. I will say it was a lot better in the first half of the book than it was in the last half of the book. And I did like seeing some characters' character development, but I rated this book 3.5 stars, all in all. Then I read Binding 13. And are you guys seeing a pattern here? I'm reading all these popular books that are super hyped. I just want to see what the hype is about, okay? So I read Binding 13. This is a brick of a book. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't really hear this much, but for like 75% of this book, it was so boring, bro. Nothing much was going on. It was pretty boring, but then I'm not gonna lie, the last 25% ate. The last 25% ate, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was reading the book and I was like, should I really read the second book? Like, I don't know. And then I read the last 25% of this book and I was like, wait a second. Yeah, I think I gotta read the second book. So definitely a very boring start to the book, but a very rewarding end. I rated Binding 13 3.75 stars. How did I come up with that? I was honestly comparing it to Shatter Me. Do I think it's as good as Shatter Me? No. So that's how I came up with my rating for this book. Then I read Gothic, and I genuinely love myself a professor student moment, and this had true potential. It just didn't cut it for me, unfortunately. You know, like Abby from Dance Mom, she was like, "You are good, I want you to be great." That's exactly what this was. It was okay. Like, I loved the plot and I loved the storyline and I loved the thought behind it. It just wasn't executed as I think it could have been. As well as it was really insta-lovey And the mailman character, whenever we first met him, he was speaking really cryptically to the FMC for no reason whatsoever. And I was like, bro, what is wrong with you? So yeah, I rated this book 3.25 stars. It just didn't give what it was supposed to give, unfortunately. Then I read Wild Love. And this was a really cutesy read. It just didn't add up, in my opinion. Like, the plot just didn't make sense, in my genuine opinion. And let me tell you why. This is no spoilers. Everything I'm going to talk about happens in the first, 30 to 40 pages of this book. So let's talk about it. Ford Grant is a single man who is not a father. He's also a billionaire. One random day, a 12-year-old knocks on his door, and she's like, I'm your daughter. And he's like, no, you're not. That's not possible. And she's like, so you're telling me you never went to a sperm bank and donated sperm before? And he's like, oh, right. So yeah, she basically tells her story to him. He's a sperm donor, and she found him randomly. She has a mom and a dad. Her dad just recently passed away. Her mom is really depressed because her dad passed away. So she was like, can you help me? We just need help. And he's like, sure. He ends up driving to go meet with her mother. Mind you, she just met this man today. He meets her mother for the first time, and the mother allows Ford Grant, the mailman character, to take care of her daughter and take her in and let her live with him. And this is where it's not adding up, right? For one, I get you, that's your biological father, but also with sperm banks, there's laws against this. He is not obligated to take care of you whatsoever. And not saying he was obligated, and he didn't say he was obligated. He just felt kind of bad for them. But also off terms of that, as a mother myself, why are you giving your daughter away to a random man you just met? I get you, that's her biological father, but you just met this man today. You never met this man in your life before, and you're gonna give your daughter away to live with this stranger? What is going on right now, bro? What is going on? Because that could have gone very bad very fast, and obviously it didn't because it's a book. But if we're gonna think in logical terms, let's be so for real right now. You're gonna give your daughter away to a random stranger you just met and let her live with him? My head hurts. Anyways, all of that aside, I don't know why they had to include that. They didn't really have to. I feel like making him a dad really didn't make sense for the plot in the first place. This whole storyline and this whole love story between Ford, and mind you, it's not about the daughter, obviously. It's about the best friend's little sister who he hired kind of as a personal assistant because he's a billionaire or whatever. So making him a dad really didn't make sense in this. They were just you know what? I think I'm gonna make him a dad. She didn't even need to be there. The daughter didn't even need to be in there at all. Anyways, I'm done with that rant. And last but not least, for the 10th book of February, I read Love Me, Stalk Me. And honestly, I ate this book up. I rated this book 4 stars, and the main character is amazing. I added him to my little collection of book boyfriends because how could I not? And I need the second book immediately. Miss Laura Bishop, where's the second book? Where is the second book? I need it. I need it now. This one's a very, very good one, and I'm very, very happy I got to read it. And yeah, those were the 10 books that I read in the month of February. Honestly, I'd say I had a pretty good reading month, if I do say so myself. I think my favorite read for February was probably Shatter Me. Shatter Me or Love Me, Stalk Me? One of the two, man. What was your favorite read in February? Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.